Thank you, Senator Markey. Well, first of all, right now I don't think I ask any questions of Andrew Wheeler, since he worked with me and for me for 14 years. There's nothing I can ask. I already know. And you'll be a great help to the EPA. I would like to make one observation, though. There's been a lot of discussion. All the discussion on this side has been talking about the RFS, and the RFS, in fact, is really in the jurisdiction of the EPA, not the CEQ. So actually, Andrew, that's your problem, and then not hers. Let me say to Ms. White, I understand that several of the extremists are driving a narrative that you hate the environment and work to give cover to polluters when you were at the Texas Commission, CEQ. However, I was looking at the enforcement numbers of the Texas CEQ during your tenure, and to me it looks like a number of the administrative orders and amounts of penalties increase significantly. I think that's very important, because you had a job to be agnostic in terms of who you're criticizing, who you're blaming, and so forth. Would you address that?
I'd be happy to, and I might share with you as an example of my commitment to environmental protection. And to me, I really think of it totally in terms of fundamental protection of human health and welfare, and risks to children particularly motivate me in response to an environmental justice issue. We had a program where we went down to key plants within the vast Houston industrial petrochemical complex, and really increased the amount of air monitors so we could really knew what we're doing with, and required that operators of the industries in question had fence line monitors, very expensive things to do, but so we got the data. We had sensors on the families who were most concerned who had demonstrable health impacts, so we could get that information, and then really worked back to the industry to operate in a way that minimized or eliminated the troubling pollutants.
Now, how about penalties, though? Penalties that were...
Yes, and a lot of those, were following federal Clean Air Act, Federal Clean Water Act. Very important, essential portion of environmental protection, and I took that very seriously. And I think also, regrettably, that a part of the reason why we were able to reduce emissions so much was that there was certain enforcement if there was any departure from their permits that could have possibly been controlled.
Yeah, well, it's my information that I have, and I think it needs to be in the record, that you have penalized companies who did not comply with the very thing that has been emanating from the other side of the aisle here.
We have 16 regional offices in Texas and they're almost all devoted to investigations and enforcement actions if they're needed.
Okay, thank you very much. We've had 8 years of administration that doesn't want fossil fuels, that's coal, oil, and gas, and doesn't want nuclear. And yet, sometimes you just have to appeal to logic and ask the question. If 80%, well over 80% of the energy it takes to run America is either fossil fuels or nuclear, and you extract that from all of the above, how do you run the machine called America? Or another way of putting it is, are there risks associated with solely relying on renewable energy?
We've seen in other countries that that's the case, in Germany and in the UK, and I might qualify by saying I'm not as current on these numbers as previously, but the average retail electric rates in Germany are 2 to 3 times higher than the average retail rate in this country, in significant part for a reason that they are very aggressively.
And I'd go on to further and say that you have actually been criticized for some of the penalties that have come from your office in the state of Texas. And I know that's true, because I know some of the individuals. As chair of the Texas CEQ, one of your responsibilities was to review applications for new electricity generation. Can you tell us about the process you used when deciding whether to permit new electricity generation?
Well, we followed the law. First of all, importantly, the Clean Air Act, as interpreted by EPA. We required all kinds of, I think maybe more data and really meaningful modeling, robust science as a part of that. They are permits, though, that derive from the Federal Clean Air Act, but we added, we did the permits in a very, very strict way.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I appreciate that very much. And what I was trying to get at was, and my time has expired, but I wanted to show and demonstrate what you, as the administrator of the Texas CEQ, did in following the law, regardless of whose was responsible. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.